talk to you about how we use some big chunks of money from wholesaling deals to, we didn't spend money, we rolled it right into other personal investments, and really neither of us have been able to invest in real estate this year without moving that money from wholesaling into some deals. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about that.
So who here does not know what wholesaling is? I think most everyone does. Cool. So I don't know, I think some of you probably came when Caitlin and I both talked about wholesaling 101, our wholesaling for dummies. So wholesaling is basically when you find something off market and then you sell it to an investor, right? And usually you make a decent chunk of money. So that's what Caitlin and I started doing about 2 years ago, and we've had some success in that. And these were the first 2 houses that we found this year that were able to get us kind of going.
Get the ball rolling. Yeah, so we started wholesaling, but didn't make any money until this last year in it. So we kind of started our business, and this is our first, I think this is our first bigger deal that we did, and we found these 2 houses. We found the seller for these 2 houses. She owns several properties in the Silver Valley, so we found her. She called us off of one of our postcards in, I think, January or February of last year, and we started talking to her about her properties, and she told us about these 2, and we were able to get them under contract for $120,000. I think $120,000 for each of the houses. At the time, last year, there was just nothing available on the market, and we were able to scoop them both up. And we were able to sell them to one investor. We gave him a discount for buying both of them, and it still worked out really well for the investor and for us. We were able to walk away with a $25,000 fee on each house. So him and I were both about to make $25,000 each, which is quite the change from living paycheck to paycheck, which I was doing the previous year. So it was kind of really exciting early last year that this was all happening. And at the same time, while we were in Escarones getting ready to close, we actually got another deal under contract, and I'll let Emma kind of talk a little bit about that.
So we had these 2 under contract that we were going to wholesale to an investor, and then we got this next one under contract in Smelterville, Idaho.
Who's been to Smelterville?
It's a lovely town. So we got this one under contract. We both knew that we had a pretty good check coming in, and we went and we walked through this house ourselves. And although, you know, it's not super pretty, we were really pleasantly surprised. Like the first probably 4 houses we wholesaled were in very rough condition, like very, very rough.
There was a goat living inside of the Pinehurst house that we sold, so
most all of them had been like smoked in for a long time. Maybe like the tenants were just really bad condition. So when we went in this one, we were both like pretty pleasantly surprised. We were like, all right, and we thought more about it, and we were kind of actually at our Coeur d'Alene office chatting with some teammates, Sam, and our teammate Joe was kind of like, why don't you girls buy this one? Like,
no, Joe's like, I'm not investing in Smelterville,
oh, yeah.
So how about you guys take it? You know?
And we both knew we had the money coming in, and so we both kind of decided, all right, let's see what we can do. So we were able to secure some private financing for this one, and we decided, okay, so I know a lot of you, everyone knows what wholesaling is. Does everyone know what wholetailing is?
No, tell us more.
Okay, so wholetailing is when you yourself close on the property, you do minimal work. You maybe clean it, maybe that's it, maybe you do nothing, and then you just put it on the market, but because you found it for such a good deal, you're gonna make a lot of money. So it's much quicker and easier. You don't need to bring in all of this capital for flipping, right? So that's kind of
works a lot when you're a real estate agent and you don't have to pay a selling commission, so it makes a little bit more sense. We were able to save some money doing that by listing it with ourselves.
Yeah, so we knew we didn't want to completely flip it. Smelterville, there's not really a market for nice houses anyway. So we wanted to put in a little bit of work, we wanted to clean it up, we wanted to do some painting, and then put it on the market. And so that's what we did. So we have some after photos. Really, we didn't do much.
No, so we each were making, our $25,000 fee each from the last deal, so we each decided that we wanted to keep some of the money for ourselves for another deal, or for whatever, I don't know, maybe we wanted to spend it, we each wanted to keep some of that money, but we wanted to invest $10,000 each, so we each put $10,000 into it, and that was gonna be our total budget. So we thought, worst case scenario, we could sell this, we put 20 grand into it, buy it at 120,000, we could sell the house for 200,000 on the market. We were very, very confident that we could do that. So we knew that we could double what we would make by just wholesaling it, and we thought that was definitely worth the risk to do it. So we took it on, and it took us about 3 months to get the project done, mostly because it took 2 months to have the tenants move out. And we just worked really hard with coming up with a deal with the tenants, because the biggest issue was that there was 9 people living there, and they just had an enormous amount of stuff. And Em and I had never done something like this before, and we just knew that we really had to try to get a lot of the stuff done for us, or we were just going to be spending way too much time trying to figure it out. So we just waited, and we ended up paying the tenants cash for keys. We paid them, we just gave them their money back for their rent if they were out when they agreed to be out, and removed their stuff, and they did. And so saved us a bunch of time, and it ended up being a win, because we didn't know this, but I don't know if you know, but if you do a flip house, you cannot sell it to an FHA buyer in less than 90 days. So we were able to sell it to an FHA buyer only because of that delay.
We had to wait actually like a week to accept their offer because they were an FHA buyer. And then we were like, okay, well, so we just waited a week, and then we're like, well, we're good now, we can accept your offer.
So maybe, I mean, that's one of the lessons learned, maybe plan on that. If you're doing a house kind of in that price point for FHA buyers, like just calculate 90 days into your holding cost.
This is a spreadsheet. We're gonna do a little plug here for the tools that we offer on North Idaho REI's website. This is our flip calculator. We use it, it's just a really nice little spreadsheet. This is what we use. So you can see we bought the house for $120,000. We had to pay $12,000 in lending fees for private money that we were paying $1,000 monthly on. So we worked that in, so we each put in the $10,000, $20,000 total. We worked all that in, so that included holding costs and everything. Our biggest expense, which you can see, I think I put over here, where was it? Was painting. We hired a painter because we didn't want to do it ourselves. We wanted the whole house painted. We painted some sort of the outside too. So that was the biggest expense. It was
2 stories,
$7,400.
all this stuff.
He fixed all the walls, everything. It was totally worth all the money because we would have been down there forever. So
that was a great job. That was a great job.
Yeah. So he did all the painting for us, and then all of our closing costs when we sold it, and we ended up making $91,000. So we were stoked that we each made the 25, and now we're like, oh my gosh, cool, we did it. We flipped a house.
Yeah, so definitely worth taking the risk on that one. And so we each got this money, and as tempting as it was to be like, wow, like I never had 25,000 before. I was like, I've never had 45,000 before either. So what am I going to do with this now? Actually, at the same time that we were working on J Street, I think it was actually the same time that we decided to buy it. I was looking for an investment with my brother. So my brother is an investor agent in Denver, and he just had a super successful flip the previous year in Denver. He really wanted to move some of that money out of state, and he wanted to kind of partner with me on a project and invest here. So we decided to do a project here in Sandpoint. We were originally looking at this tear down. I don't know, I think Joe and Sean saw that one. Remember that one you came to over on Cedar Street, I think? It was a tear down, but there was literally nothing on the market at that time. We found this tear down on, it was off market, and we were trying to work a deal with the guy. John flew down to see it, and Sean told me that it's a tear down. Don't buy it. So we decided to kind of look around town, and we were looking at these at stuff that was on the market actually, because we wanted to see what comps would be. So we walked into this house that was on the market at 443 South Foyer. I was super surprised when I saw it because this is the listing photo, and to me, it looks like a shack, and it was listed for $459,000, so we were basically going into that house like, well, it seems overpriced, and so we walked in. It was pending when we went to go see the house, and we realized that the selling agent wasn't really marketing it. We had no idea that it had a full basement. So we walked into it, it had a full unfinished basement, and the whole yard was a corner lot that you could do a big ADU on the back of it, and it backed up to an alley, and it was just in a prime location. So long story short, we ended up buying this house instead of the one that John had came to town on. We bought it on market. We bought it for full price, seller financing. So we were able to get seller financing on it because I wasn't qualifying yet for my income because I've only been an agent for a couple of years, so I couldn't qualify for a regular loan, so it just worked out for us to do seller financing. When we bought it, we originally were planning to keep it and do an Airbnb because last year at the time we were buying it, Airbnb was super hot. Everybody's making a ton of money, and I knew this location was really great, being about a block from the lake, so that was the original plan.
What were the owner terms?
We were paying interest-only payments for 1 year at 7%. Yeah. We put 113 down. So we were both able to put, I had the cash from the other deal that closed, and I got commission on the sales as I was agent. So we were both able to come in with cash, and our loan was $340,000. So yeah. So before and afters. So we did, originally the big plan was just to finish out this basement and turn it into an Airbnb, and I was gonna move into the top level, make it my primary, because in the city of Sandpoint, they have a limit on Airbnbs if it's not your primary, so I was gonna be moving into the top, we were gonna Airbnb it, we were gonna be millionaires, it was gonna be great. And then I just realized that I really didn't wanna have like this long-term investment plan with my brother, and I didn't want to make my primary home my business. So we decided pretty quickly that we were just going to flip the house. So this is just another cool picture. We originally decided, well, we didn't want to do much to the upstairs because it was pretty decent and just cosmetic, but we ended up just going kind of all out in the beginning and throughout the whole project, and we remodeled the whole thing, and it certainly was not a little cosmetic deal like Smelterville was. And we took this on in March, and it's now December. It is under contract. We sold it. Let's see what the next picture is. Okay, so this is the basement, which was a dungeon. I don't know, a couple people in this room probably saw it, but it was an absolute dungeon. We ended up doing a complete remodel. That's the basement on the other side there. So we did the whole egress window situation. There's 7.5-foot ceilings down there. It was just really extensive. It was like not a first time flippers project at all. And we kind of took it on head on. My brother moved here for the summer and lived in a camper, like at my house, and was managing the project. And it was just a lot. It was a lot of work, and I can't say that we made much money off of the project because we didn't. But what I can tell you is that looking through these statistics, okay, what do you guys think I sold it for?
$730.
So I put it on the market in October at $699. I bought it at $459. We doubled the square foot. It's in the best neighborhood in town. Fully remodeled. Any ideas what it sold for?
You're looking at it like it might be $650.
Sold it for $650. So we put it on the market at $699. We got a lot of action on it because it is a really great location. So tons and tons of activity, but no offers. And so that just means that you're overpriced. So we did a price drop pretty quickly. About 2 weeks after it being in the market and no offers, we did a price drop, $25,000, and we still got no activity after that. And it's disheartening, you know, it's disheartening to have so many people come through your house, and everybody loves it, everybody says how beautiful it is, and then nobody makes an offer. They just, it's too expensive for them. And that was what that's the trouble we got ourselves into, is that the affordability of it just went out the window after the rates changed. So we made the decision about, it was less than a month ago, after being on the market for only 1 month, we dropped it one more time to $650, and we still had no offers. And at this point, our note is due in March, and it was too much stress for me just to have this unknown factor of what we're going to be doing with this property, and there's too many moving parts with it. I'm paying a mortgage on that one, paying a mortgage on my house. It's sitting vacant. At some point I got to put a renter in there, I got to do something, so we just decided we were going to take it off the market and start the process for the refi. So we took it off the market. It was pretty emotional, but we were, you know, pretty excited just to get the refi done. The whole time we were pretty confident that the appraisal would come in at $650,000. And then we took it off the market, and then we had 3 showings that weekend, and I sold it 3 days later after taking it off the market. So I don't know, there's just a lot of buyers, I think, that are out there right now that are interested in buying, but they're really just waiting for sellers to give it away. And we just weren't, we couldn't take any more of a loss than we did on it. So lessons learned on this project. When you're writing, okay, so write your own contracts or add a protection clause. When I mean like your own contracts, when you are getting into business with a contractor, just make sure you read the fine print. If somebody is you're gonna hire them to do work for you, either write your own contract up that you want, that works for you. I mean, you're hiring them. So write your contract that makes sense for you, or add a protection clause. I'm saying this because we got burned a couple of times. And one of the reasons we're not making any money on this project is because we switched contractors several times on different aspects of the project, and one of them was a painter who we just paid, he gave us a really low bid on the project, and we paid him up front a 50% deposit, and well, we saw him a few times. He reclaimed the gutters, and you know, he sprayed some paint on the house that, you know, wasn't the right color. But when we started holding him accountable, he walked, and we didn't have anything in writing as to what that deposit was for, what happens if the contract terminates. So we just lost all that money just because we didn't, you know, we didn't know, you know, we didn't know that people would do that too. And then the other part was, let's see, get bids for the entire job, not for time and materials. So we hired this original contractors to do the job, and we did not get a bid for what the project would cost. I mean, that seems like pretty important, right? You know, and they just give you this rough estimate about how much it'll cost, and you have these fancy ideas of how quick it'll take. But if a contractor cannot confidently tell you how long the job's going to take or how much it's going to cost, then you shouldn't hire them. They should have a rough idea of how much time and how much labor it'll take. And they can overbid it, you know, that's fine, but somebody should be able to bid you the job. Otherwise they don't know what they're doing, or they're going to milk the clock, and you're just going to pay them a bunch of labor, and they're going to take their time, and you're going to draw the project out way longer than you anticipated. Location for the wind. So this is just an aerial of the property. We are just a block from the lake. So if we had bought in the other side of town, we would probably lost $100,000. So if you're looking at 2 different properties to buy and you're not sure which one, just maybe pay a little bit more and go for the better location, because at the end of the day, when there are so few buyers in that price point, they're gonna go for the best location and the best looking house. And finally, just double the time, double the budget. You know, don't be over optimistic. I feel like I'm an optimist, and I just looked at these fabulous $750,000 comps, and I thought it would take me 3 months, and I'd sell it in the summer. And so yeah, I certainly didn't make much money on it. I didn't make any money on this, but so I started this presentation with $25,000, which was the most money I'd ever had. And then, you know, I worked restaurants for 15 years, working for chefs. So $25,000, life-changing for me at that time. Rolled it into another investment and had $40,000, and that was amazing. And next week when I close on this, even though I'll be at a loss, I put all my own cash into the rehab, and I'll have $100,000 next week, which I'll be able to make some really good, important moves with. So.
Who are some contractors in town that did treat you right?
That did treat me right.
Yeah.
Sean, SN Homes came in and I mean, I'll be straight honest, he bid me for my painting job first, and I went with the lower guy.
What did I say?
He said you get what you pay for. Sean did a great job. What'd you say?
Get an education out of it.
Oh yeah, I paid 20 grand for tuition on how to flip a house. And I'm really excited and ready. Like I'm very happy. The appraisal came in yesterday at 653, so we were right on with our value. We just blew our budget, you know. So I'm really excited for the next one. Another contractor that I used that I really liked was a cabinet guy in town, Drake Dorman, who was at one of our last meetings. He did an excellent job on redoing our cabinets, and I really liked, who else did I really like? I don't know. Well, we'll talk separately about, you know, people that did a good job on that, but painting, pay extra. Don't forget about painting. Don't think you can just get a paintbrush and like just do it yourself on a weekend, because it was a month of work for a crew to do painting. So just don't discount painting. It's a lot of work.
I'm going to talk about how I spent all my $45,000 now. So we do a lot of obviously marketing to just random people, hoping someone will call us and say that they will sell us our house, right? And so I think similar time frame, right, when we were closing our flip, or maybe even before, I had a seller call me about this house. They were an out-of-state landlord, and they were pretty sure that the tenant was not really taking great care of the house, but he hadn't been in it in years. And I offered him $90,000 for his house, and he took it. And you think that's a good deal. And then we went in the house, and I was like, oh my goodness. So it had a hoarder living in it. It was really not a great situation.
Where was the house?
Thank you. The house is in Kellogg, Idaho. Yep, so the location is really good. It was right downtown, and we were actually able to work out seller financing terms with this seller. They offered me terms. He told me he'd hold the note for 10 years at 3% interest rate with 20% down. And I was like, I'm gonna make this happen. So what we did, we figured out a way to buy. We used money from the flip. And like I said, when we got in the house, it took us a couple of months to get our lovely tenant out. Her family actually was pretty happy. I was not sure how it was going to go, but her family actually was happy that she was getting out, because she really needed to be in assisted living, like she needed help. So her family kind of helped us, helped her leave, I guess. And I'm just going to go right into kind of showing you guys some before and afters. So the left is what it looked like the day that we got it. So honestly, I was surprised. Like so Kyle, my fiance, there, like when we walked in the first day, we thought it was gonna be. He was excited because he was like, "Oh, she's gonna leave all this cool stuff." No, she just like trash.
There was some CDs.
Yeah, he had his eye on some
And Pam's
CDs.
beer poster.
Yeah. No, it was basically just trash that was left, and it was a good thing, right? Because the clearing it out was less than we were expecting. This is the bathroom. Again, like if you walked into it and you smelled it, like it was really gross. It took a lot of work. Kind of like Caitlin said, like I just felt like, what are we doing? Because every single thing that needed to be done in the house, like was done. So going back to the front, I don't know if you can tell, like we needed to get a new roof right off the bat. Sean did that for us. We had to get a new subfloor in the bathroom. Here's what our like living room, kitchen area. Before and after, we had to get new subfloor in the kitchen. So it took, I want to say 4 or 5 months from getting her out to us finishing it. And that's because also like we made a ton of mistakes, right? Like we hired some people who didn't work out. We tried to do a lot of stuff ourselves that we are terrible at, but you just learn, right? And so I'm pretty proud of like, we got just maybe 3 weeks ago, we got to this point and we just found a tenant this week. So this is one that we're keeping as a long-term rental, and that's kind of our goal is to just build more rentals and so
You're gonna burn it first, right?
so we were planning on burring it, so we were planning on refinancing out of those amazing terms to get all of our cash back, but once the interest rates went up, we were not really able to do that, so we're keeping the terms that we have right now, which cash flows amazingly now, but we did put in $50,000 that, you know, went right into this project that I'd like to get back. So we're still planning on burring it once interest rates come down and once we can make the numbers work. But for now, it was really nice that we had that money from the flip to be able to buy this property and get a long-term rental in Kellogg. And because we were able to get this property at such a good deal, we have probably a little over $100,000 of equity in that house. So we just found another off-market house that we are actually closing on tomorrow. That's going to be another long-term rental. And because we have this first rental that has so much equity in it, our private money lender is just using this house as collateral for it. So we're bringing a few $1,000s to closing. Like it would have been ridiculous if we said no because of how little money we have to bring to closing to make this one work. And so that would kind of lead me, I guess, into my lessons learned, which I'm going to say in my first one, which is that your first deal is the hardest to get. I think a lot of people say that. And a lot of people say, oh, you don't need any money to invest in real estate. Yes, maybe, but I think it's a lot easier if you have some money from the get-go and you can put it into your first deal, and then you're hopefully going to be able to use your equity and kind of snowball like we talked about into your future deals. I found that definitely to be true. We needed to come up with some money for our first deal, but for the second deal, we're bringing $4,000 to closing tomorrow. So lessons learned, I'm not a contractor and time is valuable. Because this house was in such rough condition, we knew our butt, like it needed a lot of work, but we only had so much money to work with. And so Kyle and I ended up doing a lot of the work ourselves. Sean helped us with a lot of the work. We hired a lot of people. We paid Sean, sorry, he didn't do it for me. That being said, all the things that we did ourselves were definitely the worst things that were done in the house. Like, we don't know what we're doing. So for the future, like, we're really hoping that we get to a place where we're not doing the work and we're hiring the professionals, we're hiring the data boards, the people who know what they're doing, who want to be doing that, because we don't want to be driving down to Kellogg every day. We were like sleeping there, like in this house while we were working on it for like days at a time. It was, I mean, we had fun, but it was, we learned a lot.
Visited the brewery over there a lot too.
Yeah, it's about a block away from the brewery, so that was good. I said the first project is the hardest one to get. If you're doing this with your spouse, you will fight, and that's okay. I think a lot of people get into investing in real estate with their partners, and I think it's super fun and it's amazing, and I think it's just, we've learned a ton of lessons from it, and I think it's really good to just talk about everything that could possibly go wrong from the get-go, right? Because like they're your financial person. If something goes wrong, like that's you're the two making the money, right? So I think we learned a ton about how to communicate and how to do this. I just see a lot of spouses flipping houses together, and so communication is key, right? right? And just working through all of the scenarios about like, okay, we're probably gonna fight and we're probably gonna have some disagreements about what we should do here, but that's okay. And then the last thing kind of goes back just to putting deals together. So we talk to a lot of sellers or people who maybe aren't expecting to be sellers, but we're able to put the deals together. And I think the reason why is we listen to them, we figure out what they need, and then we figure out a way to give it to them while also making sure that it works for everyone. So we only like to close on deals off market when it's a win-win, right? Like a lot of people ask, well, how are you getting like great deals off market? Well, the seller needed something, right? Maybe they needed money fast. Maybe they didn't want to have to be the one to kick their tenant out because their tenant's been there for 10 years, even though they're destroying the house. There's a plethora of reasons why a seller would want to sell their house at a discount. And if you can talk to them and just really get personal with them and figure out how you can help them and then give them the solution, like you're gonna find deals and really approach it from that way of like, how can I help you? And then in return, it's, you know, hopefully it will help you as well. And so I think that's how we've been able to find these good off-market deals. So the one that we're closing on tomorrow, it was really important to the seller that her tenants don't get kicked out. They've lived there for 10 years. And I was like, cool, I'll buy it from you and I'll keep your tenants in there. And so she gave us a really good deal on it because, you know, her tenants have a little bit less than market rent, and we had to figure out a way that it would work, that the payments would work and everything, but we figured it out, and she's gonna be super excited to get her check, and I'm super excited to get this house. So, yeah, that's kind of how Kaylin and and also, just to end, my favorite part about real estate is like, you can invest in real estate in a million different ways. In my opinion, there's not really like a right way or wrong way, it's just however you want to do it. So like, this is just what we've done, and our experience with it, and so I think that if just pick what you are interested in, and then you'll probably find success as long as you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, Property Chicks is just kind of like our side hustle. You know, we're not looking to sell wholesale 30 houses a year. We really just found it, and it works for us for funding our own business and our own people here. We've got a lot of deals for people in this room, and we've been able to do some cool stuff with it. So it works for us, but certainly maybe won't work for everybody. Just figure out what you need, what you're looking for, and I don't know, be willing to take risks.
That's us.
Good job, ladies. You guys have more questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, on that last house, did you paint the kitchen cabinets or did you replace them?
Good question. We replaced the bottom kitchen cabinets because we had to, because it was sort of rotting out. But we did salvage the top ones. So we painted the top ones white, put in new bottom white. So they don't fully match.
Yeah, the picture, the configuration looks the same, so
I'll
it's kind
show
of hard to
it.
tell.
I'll go back, yeah. So, yeah, the bottom ones are new, and the top ones are the old ones. We
Okay.
found the same hardware though, so so there's that. Yeah, we budgeted wherever we could. We took the
Sure.
shortcuts as much as we could.
No need to apologize.
Yeah.
I think all the time.
If you had to guess, how many sellers would you say you had to talk to get where you are?
So we have 1,000 in our database.
We definitely didn't talk to 1,000.
No.
So I would say we've talked to probably 5 to 6 times the amount of deals we've put together. Exactly.
The thing about the wholesaling is that they're calling you, so we're reaching out to people in the masses with hundreds of postcards. That doesn't take much time. It's the driving that takes the time and the organization, but we reach out to over 1,000 people in our database that we've built, and they call you, and so the amount of people that have called us is probably 20. And but if they call you, they're at least a little interested in selling, or they just are telling you to take them off the list, and that's fine. But they're calling you, so if you can convert that, it's pretty good.
How many times are you touching that customer before they call you back?
We usually are sending around 5 postcards to each person.
Do you remember on these, the last two that we bought, or the other ones you guys got, how many postcards they got before they called you?
That's a good question. Probably close to 5, 3 to 5.
Like you had sent them in before they called you guys?
Yes, so this last one that we just got under contract, Caitlin actually was like, I want to send a Thanksgiving themed postcard. And I was kind of like, okay, like we've already sent them postcards. And then I got a house out of it, so thank you.
Well, no, we switched up the photo. That's what did it.
We just switch it up, we switch up the message, we switch up the photo, and I think truly people are like, who are these girls? Like we've gotten 5 postcards. Why do you want our house so bad?
I think it's about somebody who just gets that postcard at the right time. Like,
Or that,
something's
yeah.
going on in their life, or their pipe just burst and they don't deal with it anymore. So we just want to be in front of them when they need to sell. So
Are you gonna keep mailing that list, or when do you say, hey, that's enough postcards?
we
Well,
actually
we've been expanding our list.
we expand the list, and we pretty much like areas that we don't get any calls on. We're not like we'll go through the sequence of 3. It's at least 3 per area that we drive. But if we don't get any return on that area, we don't generally keep sending. But the Silver Valley, we keep hitting up because that's pretty much where it's at. I think the question was asked earlier, like who's buying houses right now? It's people who are affordable housing. I mean, didn't you just have 8 offers on your flip or something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, we put the property on the market on a Thursday night, and by Saturday, we had 16 showings and 6 offers.
It was at like a
And it
250
was-
price
I
point.
felt like it was 20, 21
Yeah.
over, and
So I think if you could be in that price point, that is,
it was a lower purchase price.
So,
yeah.
you're saying affordable housing, so are you finding that people buying and living there, but traveling to Fort Wayne to work? Is that just one?
Well, not in the Silver Valley.
Maybe, well, yeah, I think there's a decent amount of people. I mean, we've only sold the one house.
We were selling,
Pinehurst,
we sold them to investors, so the Pinehurst ones, investors bought those from us, and they were rentals. So people are renting those houses out and either commuting or working in, like the mines in the valley.
'Cause I see that a lot around here where people can't afford to live in Sandpine, so, you know, the community's pretty secure. That's where a lot of people are starting to head to in
Definitely.
the community.
Yeah.
For what they're doing.
Are you using EDDM, or how do you target your postcards?
We
drive for
what's
dollars.
EDDM?
Every door direct one.
Oh, we use an app called Deal Machine, which is what sends out. That's like the platform that sends all of ours. But we physically go drive through neighborhoods. We look for dilapidated looking houses. We add them to our database.
Just
and
by
then we,
clicking like on the app.
Individuals.
and then we send them postcards that way. So yeah, I mean that's I would say. I mean, not that we've spent an amazing amount of time, but like that is where we have spent
Part-time.
you know, driving around, and we really do drive through the neighborhoods, and well, that one looks like, you know, that one's still got the Christmas lights up.
But it's cool on Deal Machine, you can pull it up, because sometimes you're like, it could go either way, but you could look on it and see if it's owner occupied or not, and usually if it's non-owner occupied, we'll hit it up.
Sometimes it'll tell you if they have a mortgage, sometimes how much. I don't know how accurate it is, but you know, it tells you. So I've never used the one that you mentioned.
It's for bulk.
Okay, yeah. We've, again, like, we're not looking to wholesale like 30 houses a month, you know, this is a little side gig, and so, I mean, we've wholesaled probably 3 houses this year, but then we bought some of them, so like, we're really not doing that many deals off market. We're kind of just like doing what works. It just kind of supplements our real estate business, and we like doing it, you know. We're not sending out like 10,000 postcards a month. We're sending a couple hundred.
Right.
Cool. Daniel.
Super proud of you guys. We'll go on for, yeah, you guys deserve
What's the 5-year plan?
So I was similar, and like, I wanna just buy, we kind of have a switching off system when we find a deal.
Oh, yeah, that's,
So like, so Caitlin's up next, if we find a deal, she has first dibs on it. I wanna get to the point where like anything we buy off market, I'm buying. Like my plan is to just hold it all.
yeah, so I think the plan, it's never been to scale to where it really interferes with our real estate
We're not gonna
business,
hire
our
people,
investing.
like-
It's really just to fund our deals, be able to have a way that we get first dibs on really great deals and we're able to take them on, but also just really be able to add value. I mean, to be honest, we're kind of the REI team's personal wholesalers, so they always like, you know, that's a pretty good deal to have like wholesalers that are right here that give you guys good deals, and yeah, I think it's really just supplemental for us. 5-year plan. It's fun. We like it. It's not stressful, and it's helping us, you know, do cool things. So.
Well, thanks for coming as always, guys.
Trip market